Memphis, who is playoff bound, they're going to be a top 6 team. They have had a pretty good season. They are a dangerous team. I think a lot of people look at them as a dangerous team in the Western Conference playoffs. Probably not going to win the West. We are in a conference with Oklahoma City and Denver, but they're dangerous, and the Lakers. They fire their coach out of nowhere with like 2.5 weeks at the time left in the season. He's the winningest coach in Memphis history, Taylor Jenkins. And we still don't really know why. Here's Andre Snellings, ESPN NBA writer from Game Night Friday, his read on the whole situation.
I have no inside information at all on this. I'll just say this is the kind of thing that normally happens when something else happened that happened off the stage, and they were like, look, we got to move on from this. It's got to be now. You don't make any noise, we won't make any noise. We'll just let it happen. I mean, I don't know that that's what, but I mean, otherwise, to me, this just doesn't make sense.
I agree, does not make sense.
So where do you begin on this?
Something must have happened.
Was it something personal? Could something personal have happened?
Feels like it.
Yes, it does. And that's why typically the other shoe still has got to fall on this. Taylor Jenkins getting fired right now. Oh, my goodness. How many teams would be interested in Taylor Jenkins?
That's kind of where I was going. I mean, if everybody had to lose their coach this offseason and you were redrafting coaches, he would definitely be one of the first 30 taken. He'd probably be one of the first 20 taken, maybe even a little bit higher. I don't know. But here's the reasoning from Shams.
The Grizzlies just feel they have declined and they've plateaued here in the second half of the season. And their stats in terms of facing teams that are over 500 has not been great. They have lost 9 straight games against teams with an over 500 record by an almost average of 13 points. They're 20th in defensive efficiency in the second half of the season. They were 7th in the first half. And my understanding, sources tell me that they just believe that Taylor Jenkins had lost that locker room and that they had to make a change to mitigate potentially what could have been an even worse finish to the season in their eyes.
Buy any of that?
Yeah, I guess you could buy a little bit of that right here. The one thing I do know is this, brothers. The other shoe is going to fall. It may not fall publicly, but it will within the industry, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It will. Like James Jones, by way of example, is going to know why Taylor Jenkins was fired. He's going to know. Yeah. Matt Ishbia, they're going to know why he was fired. They're going to know the particulars as to what happened. I think. That's just me.
Ultimately, I mean, I guess for where this conversation's about to go, that's really what matters. It doesn't matter if you or I know why Taylor Jenkins was fired. It matters if the Suns front office and everybody around the league's front office knows. I mean, look, we can all guess. I have to think it either something personal happened or, I mean, it's the NBA. Maybe Ja Morant was just done with him. Maybe Ja Morant, and I know there were reports out there that Ja Morant had tuned him out. Those two have been through a lot because Ja kept getting suspended for a few years there. I mean, you go over the 5 years Taylor Jenkins was there was talk of Ja Morant being the face of the league, him, like, was he going to have a career because he kept getting suspended? And Taylor Jenkins is the one that had to suspend him some of those times. But it seemed like everything was working. Like that cut we played from Shams, and he's not saying this. He's just saying this is what the team said, that they had plateaued and they were 6-5 in their previous 11 when they fired Taylor Jenkins. And by the way, they're 0-2 since. Like 6-5 in the middle of a season when you're going to the playoffs, like, got to change coaches. It doesn't add up. And the only reason I care is because if he didn't do anything like wrong, that's somebody you need to look at if you're the Suns.
I totally expect that would be the case as well. It all depends how the Phoenix Suns are going to finish. I still hold out hope. I know it's ridiculous. I know it sounds ridiculous, and I know that it is. I know the odds are incredibly long. And at the same time, I know lightning can strike. And if Devin Booker, who's going to get the opportunity to lead this team, who's going to get the opportunity to be the de facto leader of the Phoenix Suns, if he's going to challenge himself and challenge his teammates, can we see a competitive team over the next 7 games? Can we see that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping that we do. For Book's sake, I'm hoping that's going to be the case because he needs to do this based on needs. He needs to develop as a leader. He knew it coming into this season and said as much. He needs to develop as a leader. Or you might as well blow the whole thing up. But that's a different conversation.
With Jenkins, like the Suns have a coach right now, and I agree with you, the final 7 games matter. It just feels like we kind of are seeing where it's going now. I'm not saying you have to fire Coach Bud, but I'm saying what I don't want to do. I don't want to go down the path of, okay, season's over, let's fire Coach Bud. What's the plan? Oh, I don't know. Fingers crossed. Hopefully the Clippers let us have Ty Lue again. Like that, it never happens. Right. The Clippers aren't giving us Ty Lue.
Ty Lue.
So, but to me, this changes the equation a little bit of if you're going to the offseason, we're like, man, that was terrible. Get Coach Bud out of here, and I guess we got to start interviewing. That's a little more desperate than, hold on, Taylor Jenkins is out there. Or even if it's somebody else like Taylor Jenkins, that's like, okay, well then, if you're telling me there's maybe an upgrade at coach, you don't want to be firing your coach every year. But this offseason of all off seasons, somebody like that being out there I just think you have to be aware of it if you're the Suns. That's why when you said they probably, James Jones probably knows what happened in Memphis, that's what is important.
Yeah, and I would believe Ja Morant was tuning him out. I would believe that. And if you as an ownership believe that as well, wouldn't that give you reason to fire him?
Yeah,
there.
It would. I just don't know that I'd do it right before the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think maybe that actually created a different situation. Maybe it was a situation where they confronted him with some of this stuff. You have to change. You have to do something about this, Taylor. And he didn't want to. Okay, you don't want to? You're fired. I mean, that's how it works. Either you conform or you do not. And if you do not, you're gone.
Well, Memphis right now is lined up to play the Lakers in the first round. Who are you taking in that series? The team that can't figure out who their coach is, or the team that Dallas funnels their best players to?
Yeah.
Probably taking the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Lakers in that one. Especially when you look at this picture of Ja Morant. Look at the look on his face. Taylor Jenkins coaching him up, and the look on his face. It's unbelievable. I realize it's a still shot.
Yeah, but that is the visual definition of tuning somebody out.
There it is right there. Show it to the camera.
I don't know how you found that picture, Wolf.
Yes. I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to zoom in on that? I don't know. What are you talking about?
The fact
there it is right there.
That he reportedly tuned Taylor Jenkins out, and you're like, well, I don't know. People say rumors. That one still photo you just showed me proves it.
That is the definition of tuning somebody out, the look on somebody's face.
He's somehow rolling his eyes in a still photo.
Your eyes are up, and your mouth has got the stink face. Like, really?
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.